I woke up freezing in a way that meant I was dying, not regular cold, the kind that stops hurting and starts feeling warm. Hypothermia's final trick. My left leg wouldn't move. When I tried, pain exploded through me. Broken. The bone was wrong, shifting under the skin. Snow had drifted over my chest. Above me, Montana pines sagged under powder, and the sky was dead gray, promising more snow. I'm Arthur Montgomery, 68, retired Shakespeare professor. Type 2 diabetes, 3 grandkids, 1 dead wife. I still miss every morning. Yesterday. When was yesterday? The truck. Daniel driving. Coffee that tasted wrong under peppermint. Then nothing. I patted my jacket with numb fingers. No phone, no wallet, no watch. Just the wedding band Margaret gave me 42 years ago. 20 degrees, maybe less. I'd grown up in Vermont. I knew cold. This kind killed you. The break was below the knee. Through my jeans, I could see where bone had started pushing through, a small tear in the skin, already crusted dark. That's how infection starts. How you die. Around me, trees, mountains, wilderness, the Beartooths. We'd been driving north from Billings when Daniel pulled over. The thermos had Christmas trees on it. Sarah had wrapped it with a red bow. "Merry Christmas, Dad," she'd said. Something special for the road. My son had drugged me, driven me here, thrown me down a slope. When I woke, I was half buried in snow with nothing. Margaret would have known. She always knew when Daniel was working an angle. But Margaret was 5 years dead, and I'd spent those years trusting the wrong son. Temperature dropping. Maybe 2 hours of daylight left. 50 yards downslope, I saw a dark shape. Cabin or shed. 50 yards might as well be 50 miles, but staying here meant dying. I found a branch, dragged myself upright. The world tilted. I waited. Then I started moving. 10 days earlier, December 10th, I'd been wrapping presents when Daniel called. "Dad, remember how Mom wanted us together for Christmas? Let's make it happen. You and me, Montana, real quality time." My son hadn't visited in 3 years. I was planning Christmas with Emily and the kids. "You see them all the time. When's the last time we really talked? Please, one last real Christmas together." One last. Those words should have warned me, but my son was asking to spend time with me. What father says no? "All right." I called Emily after. "Montana with Daniel? Dad, when's the last time he invited you anywhere?" "People change." "Not that much." She sighed. "If you want to go, go, but check in every day. You worry too much. I'm a single mom with 2 kids. Worrying is my job." We talked about Emma's play, Jack's dinosaurs, normal things. "I love you, Dad," she said before hanging up. "Love you too, sweetheart." December 10th, the last normal conversation before I died. Except I didn't die. Not quite. December 20th, Billings Airport. Daniel was waiting, looking prosperous. Sarah waved from the Escalade but didn't get out. "Headache," Daniel said. We drove north. He talked about his failing business, money troubles. "Ever think about downsizing that house? Free up capital?" "I'm not selling. Just saying, the house is fine." Silence after that. Noon. Scenic overlook. Coffee break. The thermos was red and green, covered in Christmas trees. Sarah had filled it, he said, to father and son. He raised his mug. The coffee was bitter under the peppermint. I drank half, felt drowsy, poured the rest out when he wasn't looking. 20 minutes later, I couldn't keep my eyes open. "You okay, Dad?" "Just need sleep. We're almost there." I tried to fight it. The darkness took me. When I woke, I was in snow. Daniel gone, truck gone, phone, wallet, watch gone, leg broken. My son had tried to kill me, for money, $3 million total. The house Margaret and I bought when the kids were small, worth $1.8 million now in Connecticut's market. My investment portfolio, carefully managed for 30 years, $800,000, life insurance policy, 500,000 more. Daniel was 1.5 million in debt from his failing real estate business, facing bankruptcy, losing everything, and I was the solution he'd found. Old man wanders off during camping trip, tragic accident in the wilderness, exposure, hypothermia. Nature did the work, clean. No evidence pointing back to him, except I wasn't dead yet. That cabin 50 yards away, crawling distance. Maybe, if I wanted to live badly enough to endure what came next. I wanted to live. Not for revenge, though that would come. Not even for justice, for Emily, for Emma and Jack, for the people who actually loved me, not my bank account. I grabbed my branch and started crawling through the snow. 50 yards, forever. But I'd make it. I had to. It took 40 minutes to crawl 50 yards through snow and ice. I learned things about myself during that crawl. I learned how much you can endure when death is the alternative. I learned that pain has layers, sharp, dull, the kind that makes you vomit, the kind that blacks you out. I learned all of them intimately. The branch I used kept slipping on ice patches. My good leg kept cramping from overuse, muscles screaming. The broken one dragged behind me like an anchor, sending lightning bolts up my spine with every pull forward. I counted to stay focused. 1 pull forward, rest, breathe through the pain. Another pull, rest again, breathe. At pull 47, I looked back, 20 yards maybe, less than halfway. The thought nearly broke me. I thought about giving up, just lying down in the snow, letting the cold take me. Peaceful, they say, like falling asleep in a warm bed. But then I thought about Emily opening her door Christmas morning to police with bad news. Emma and Jack asking where Grandpa was, their faces confused and hurt. Daniel collecting his inheritance, sleeping soundly in my house, spending Margaret's money without a second thought. I started crawling again, faster this time. The cabin materialized through trees like a mirage. One room, weathered wood, half the roof caved in. Door hanging crooked on rusted hinges. I grabbed the frame and pulled myself inside, collapsing. 5 degrees warmer. Not much, but enough when you're dying. I lay there breathing, waiting for the shaking to stop. Then I took inventory. Survival requires clear thinking, even through pain and hypothermia. 12 by 12 feet. Metal cot, no mattress, rusted stove, and a metal footlocker bolted to the floor. Inside, wool blanket, moth-eaten but intact, waterproof matches in sealed plastic, first aid kit, small hatchet, 6 cans of soup with pull tabs, gallon water jug, frozen solid, no phone, no radio, no GPS, no way to call for help, but enough to survive, maybe. I pulled myself onto the cot and faced my leg, cut away the jeans, fabric stiff with frozen blood. Under it, my leg was purple, swollen twice normal size. The bone had shifted at an unnatural angle. Where it had almost broken through, skin was torn about an inch, edges dark and infected looking. I'd never set a broken bone. Everything I knew came from books. Patterson's Boy Scout Handbook, the SAS Guide, Jack London. Found 2 wood pieces in the corner. Used my belt and shirt strips for a splint. The hard part was straightening it. Braced against the cot, gripped thigh, then ankle. 3 breaths. On the 3rd, I pulled. Pain so intense I couldn't scream. World went white, gray, black. Came to on the floor. The leg was straighter. Not perfect. Better. Bone had settled back into rough alignment. Wrapped the splint. 2 wood pieces, 1 each side. Belt around upper portion. Shirt strips around lower. Each knot tested. Clove hitch. 2 half hitches. Knots from age 12. Pain was extraordinary, but pain meant alive. I assessed the situation carefully. Hypothermia, stage 1. Shivering uncontrollably, confused thinking. Had to prevent stage 2 at all costs. The blanket was damp from melted snow. I wrapped it around myself anyway. Held the water jug against my chest, using body heat to thaw it slowly. Drinking ice water drops core temperature dangerously. I ate a can of soup cold, beef barley, tasted like metal and salt and life. My stomach wanted to reject it. I kept it down through pure willpower. 5 cans left now. Outside, daylight was fading. Temperature would drop 30 degrees overnight. I needed fire. Wood under the eaves, protected from snow. 20 minutes to drag back enough for one night. Each trip agony, each trip necessary. The matches worked. Wood was damp but caught. I fed it carefully until I had real flames. The warmth was everything. I sat close and felt life flowing back. My fingers started hurting as they thawed. Good sign. Pain means tissue alive enough to hurt. I thought about Daniel and Sarah and Billings. Were they waiting for news of my body? Already planning my funeral? Had Daniel practiced his grief face? I thought about the call Emily would get. Your father went hiking and didn't come back. Search teams are looking. She'd blame herself. Wonder if she could have stopped me. I couldn't let that happen. I had to survive long enough to tell her the truth. That night, I heard wolves howling. Not close, not far either. I wasn't afraid of wolves. I was afraid of being too weak to fight them. I fed the fire and stayed awake, listening to the wilderness breathe. This was December 21st, day 1. I was still alive. That was enough for now. Day 2, December 22nd. I woke to pain so intense I thought the cabin was on fire. It wasn't. The fire had died and my leg was burning from inside. Infection. The question was how fast. I unwrapped the splint. The skin around the tear had gone from dark red to angry purple. Red lines spreading up my calf like veins. Lymphangitis, blood poisoning. Without antibiotics, maybe 3 days left. The first aid kit had antiseptic wipes. I cleaned the wound, trying not to scream. Found expired ibuprofen, 12 pills. Took 4. Barely touched the pain. I rewrapped the splint and focused on staying alive another day. Water jug had thawed enough. Melted more snow. Ate chicken noodle soup. 4 cans left. Needed more wood. Without fire, hypothermia would kill me faster than infection. I crawled outside. Storm had passed, leaving 3 inches more snow. 15 degrees. Clear sky meant tonight would be colder. Dragged wood back. Each trip took longer. Good leg weakening. Broken 1 dead weight. By afternoon, enough wood for 2 days. Maybe 3. Built up the fire and lay conserving energy. Forehead hot. Fever starting. That night, wolves came closer. I heard them circling, testing. I gripped the hatchet and kept fire bright. Eventually they moved on. I didn't sleep. Day 3, December 23rd. Fever worse. Leg grotesque, swollen triple size. Red lines past my knee toward my thigh. Wound, weeping clear fluid that stained the splint. I was shaking so hard I could barely hold a can. Thoughts sliding sideways, losing grip on reality. Delirium starting. I knew what came next. I forced myself to eat, to drink, to keep fire going, to stay conscious. Mostly, I just lay there, trying not to die. In the afternoon, I heard church bells. Faint, far away, carried on wind. It took me a long time to remember what day it was. My brain wasn't working right. December 23rd, 2 days before Christmas. I thought about Emma and Jack. They'd be excited now, counting down the hours. Emily would be baking Margaret's fruitcake recipe, the one with too much rum that Margaret never got quite right. Had Emily gotten it right? I'd never know. That thought hit me hard. The thought made me angry, not sad, angry. I was dying in this frozen cabin because my son wanted money, because he valued inheritance over his father's life, because somewhere in his 43 years, he'd learned that people were worth less than dollars. The anger kept me warm that night. Anger burns hotter than wood. Day 4, December 24th, Christmas Eve. I woke to Margaret sitting on the cot beside me. She looked young, maybe 30, wearing the red dress from our first Christmas together. "You're not here," I said. "I know, but you need someone to talk to." I'm dying. Not yet. Not today. The infection will kill you in 2 days if you stay. But you're not staying. Listen. At first, nothing but wind. Then, faint, far away, rhythmic, mechanical, helicopter. Write your message, Margaret said, so they know the truth. I opened my eyes. She was gone. But the helicopter sound was real. I crawled to the wall, found charcoal from the fire, hands shaking. Arthur Montgomery abandoned here by my son Daniel. December 21st, 2024. If you find this, call my daughter Emily. Then her number. Below it. Merry Christmas. The helicopter was closer now. I crawled to the door. Brilliant sunshine. Storm cleared. Blue sky. Grabbed the hatchet and last can. Stumbled outside. Pounded metal with hatchet. Sound echoed. 3 times. 3 rings. Collapsed in snow and waited. Helicopter appeared over the ridge. Red and white. Search and rescue. Circled once. Twice. I waved the hatchet until my arm gave out. It banked lower. Man leaning out. Pointing. They'd found me. I lay exhausted, watching them land 50 yards away, the same 50 yards I'd crawled 4 days ago. A man ran toward me. 50-something, weathered, dark hair, knelt beside me. Sir, can you hear me? Yes. Ray Whitehorse, Blackfeet Nation Parks. How long? 4 days, broken leg, infection. Radio. Base. Ranger 2, survivor at Morrison. Male, elderly, broken tibia, septic, Medivac. I'm not that elderly. He smiled. You're alive. That matters. They loaded me in. Warmth, blankets, IV. Name? The medic asked. Arthur Montgomery. Anyone we should call? My daughter Emily. I gave the number. Don't call my son. Why not? He's the one who left me here to die. Ray and the medic exchanged looks. We'll need to hear more, Ray said. But first, somewhere warm. Helicopter lifted. Through the window, the cabin shrank. Where I'd almost died. Where I learned what my son was capable of. I thought about Daniel. He thought I was dead, planning my funeral. Fake grief. Tonight was Christmas Eve. They'd celebrate. They were in for a surprise. I closed my eyes and let the helicopter carry me toward life. 4 days in hell. I'd survived. Now came the reckoning. The Indian Health Service clinic smelled of antiseptic and coffee. White walls, fluorescent lights. A young man inserted an IV into my arm. Jesse Whitehorse, Ray's son. You're lucky. Another day and you'd have lost the leg. How bad? Tib-fib fracture, infected. Antibiotics should work, but you need rest. I need to go home, tonight. You're not stable. Tonight, Christmas Eve. Ray came in with another man. 55, tired eyes, strong handshake. Marcus Thompson, private investigator. Ray called me. Your son tried to kill you? Yes. I told him everything. The drugged coffee, the abandonment. 4 days in the cabin. Marcus wrote it down. We need evidence, medical records, Ray's testimony, the message on the wall. I'll photograph that. But we need more. Bank records, GPS data, your will. Tom Brennan in Hartford has my will, and I have a joint account with Daniel, maybe 200,000 in it. Marcus's eyes sharpened. If they touched that money, we've got them. He stood. I'm flying to Connecticut now. I'll have everything ready. But you need to heal first. No, I'm coming tonight. Christmas Eve. Jesse came back. He wants to travel tonight. Not advisable. Can he travel? Marcus asked. With medical support? Jesse hesitated. If we pump antibiotics and keep the IV going. Risky but survivable. I've survived worse, I said. Marcus nodded. I'll arrange private medical transport. You can be in Connecticut by 10 tonight. Do it. Ray sat beside me. You sure about this? I'm sure. In Blackfeet tradition, when someone returns from death, they bring a message, justice or mercy. I choose justice. Good. What your son did, that's betrayal of blood, the worst thing. The next hours were antibiotics, pain medication, preparation. Jesse set up portable IV, checked vitals constantly. At 4 p.m., Marcus called from Connecticut. Got it. Your son's truck GPS. Drove to Morrison Cabin December 21st, 11:47 a.m. Stayed 6 minutes. Drove back to Billings. No search. No rescue. That's him dumping me. That's what a jury will think. Also, Sarah forged a check for $180,000 on December 21st, cashed it the 22nd, wired to Cayman Islands. My fists clenched. More. Someone contacted a notary December 19th with a revised will showing your signature, leaves everything to Daniel. Forged? 12 deviation points from your real signature. Amateur work. What about Emily? Your real will splits everything equally. Life insurance goes to Emily only. You changed it 5 years ago. But the forged will gives Daniel everything. $3 million. That's what I was worth to him. I went to your house, Marcus continued. Daniel has a key. Someone searched your study. Your safe was opened. Combination, not forced. My wife's birthday. He knew. Looking for the real will. Didn't find it. Tom has it locked up. This wasn't impulse. This was planned. Days of preparation to murder his father. Police are standing by, Marcus said. We're doing this right, by the book. Good. At 6 p.m., ambulance to Great Falls. Ray rode with me. You're doing the right thing, he said. Justice and revenge, sometimes they're the same. The private jet had 2 pilots and a flight nurse. They transferred me carefully, secured the IV. Jesse stood at the plane steps. Take care of that leg. You'll need surgery once infection clears. Thank you for saving my life. Thank Ray. He found you. I looked at Ray. Thank you. You would have done the same. That's what decent people do. Unlike my son. The plane took off at 7 p.m. Montana time, 4 hours to Connecticut. We'd land at 10 p.m. Eastern, Christmas Eve. I spent the flight thinking about what I'd say to Daniel, but words seemed inadequate. What do you say to a son who tried to kill you? Maybe nothing. Maybe just let him see me alive. Let him know he failed. We landed at Bradley International at 9:53 p.m. Marcus waited with 2 state police officers. Marcus handed me a thick folder. GPS data, bank records, forged will, timeline. It's airtight. Where is he? Your house. Been watching them. Arrived 3 hours ago, decorating your Christmas tree. My tree. Your house. Your presents. They're opening them right now. Something cold settled in my chest. Let's go. We drove through Hartford suburbs. Christmas lights everywhere. Families celebrating inside. And my son was in my house, opening presents meant for my grandchildren, celebrating my death. The van stopped across from my Tudor revival. Through windows, I saw them. Daniel and Sarah by the tree. Bing Crosby's White Christmas playing. Marcus helped me into crutches. Officers stood ready. You sure? I looked at my house. The house Margaret and I bought, where I raised my children. The house my son thought he'd inherited. I'm sure. I crossed the street, walked up the steps, used my key, and stepped into the light. The living room looked like a Christmas card. Lights on the tree Margaret always insisted on. Wreath on the mantel. Snow outside. Picture perfect. Except for what was happening underneath that tree. Daniel held the Gatsby I'd bought him. $3,000 easy. Sarah had Emily's spa voucher. I'll use this myself. They were opening my presents, meant for my grandchildren. I stepped into the room. Crutches tapped on hardwood. Sarah saw me first. Wine glass slipped, shattered, red spreading like blood. Daniel turned, went white. Merry Christmas, son, I said. He couldn't speak. Surprised? You should be. I was supposed to be dead, frozen in that cabin. Dad, what? 4 days in Morrison cabin with a broken leg. You drugged my coffee, threw me down a slope, left me to die. Sarah tried. Arthur, thank God. You thought I was dead. You were counting on it. Marcus stepped in with 2 officers. Daniel Montgomery, Sarah Montgomery, you have the right to remain silent. He read their rights. They sat frozen. Marcus held up his phone. Medical records, GPS data showing you drove to the cabin, stayed 6 minutes, left. Bank records, Sarah forged a check for $180,000 on December 21st. Forged will, leaving everything to Daniel. I want a lawyer, Daniel said. Good idea. Officers? They cuffed them, read rights again. As they led Daniel out, he looked at me one last time. Not hate, not fear. Shame. He knew he'd been caught, knew everything he'd planned was falling apart. They left. The house went quiet, except Bing Crosby still singing White Christmas on the stereo. I reached over and turned it off. Marcus sat on the couch beside me. You did good. I don't feel good. You will, eventually. I looked around my living room, the Christmas tree still twinkling, torn wrapping paper scattered on the floor, wine stains spreading on Margaret's hardwood. Will I? I asked. He didn't answer. Maybe there wasn't an answer. The trial took 6 months. Their lawyers tried everything. The evidence was overwhelming. They plea bargained. 15 years, eligible for parole in 10. Before they took Daniel away, he said, I'm sorry. I didn't respond. The house sold in August. Too many ghosts. I moved in with Emily, West Hartford, 3-bedroom. Emma and Jack were thrilled. This Christmas, my 3rd since Montana, we have a tradition. Before dinner, we light 4 candles. Emma, Jack, Emily, and me. Ray flew in from Montana. Marcus came with Anna. Why 4 candles? Jack asks. He's 9 now. Each one means something. I light the white candle. For your grandmother, Margaret. She taught me what family means. I light the red candle. For the Blackfeet people who saved my life. I light the green candle. For your mother, your sister, and you, my family by blood and choice. I light the black candle last. Why black? Emma asks. 12 now, old enough to understand dark things. For your Uncle Daniel, not forgiveness, just acknowledgement. Some things die. That makes room for new things to grow. She nods. She understands. We eat. Emily's perfected Margaret's fruitcake. Ray tells Montana stories. Marcus and Anna announce their engagement. The kids are loud and happy. Later, Marcus and I sit on the porch with coffee. You ever think about him? Marcus asks. Every day, but not with hate. What then? Sadness. For what he could have been. Inside, Emily laughs. Jack shows Anna his dinosaurs. Emma writes in her journal. You know what I learned in that cabin? What? That we're not defined by what's done to us. We're defined by what we do next. And what did you do? I chose to live. Then I chose to keep living. Every day. That's the real victory. Marcus nods. That's good. Inside, Jack calls for me. Grandpa, come help. I get up. My leg still aches and cold. Probably always will. But I don't mind. They've laid out a puzzle. A winter scene with a cabin in snow. Not that one, I say gently. Let's do a different one. Emma gets it. She brings out one with a lighthouse instead. Better? Much better. We work on the puzzle together. Family. The one I was born into failed me. But the one I've built, through survival, choice, love, that one's holding strong. Daniel took 4 days from me. He took my trust. He took the father-son relationship I wanted. But he didn't take my life, and he didn't take my ability to find joy. That night, lying in bed, I think about Christmas Eve 3 years ago, walking into my house on crutches, Daniel's face when he realized I wasn't dead. I think about the cabin, the cold, the certainty I'd die. And I think about now, this moment, this family, this life. I went into the wilderness expecting death. I found myself expecting life instead. Not the life I had, but the life I deserved. And that, finally, is enough.